And Caitlin Clark destroys in day 2 of Team USA camp, looking like the best player in the world as usual.
Caitlin Clark just destroyed Team USA practice, and Angel Reese was right there for it. This was not a cute welcome back run. This was a statement, the kind that makes coaches stop talking and makes every newcomer realize the standard just changed. And it came after months of questions, not just about Team USA, about her body, about her health, about whether that rough stop-start season was going to follow her. Clark admitted being hurt can feel isolating and that the injuries kept stacking up. She said she felt nervous walking into camp, but the second she touched the ball in warm-ups, she felt comfortable again.
I mean, honestly, I feel like when I touched the basketball to start warming up before the practice even started, that's probably when I felt pretty comfortable. But I mean, I've worked so hard. Like, I haven't taken a break since, honestly, since the beginning of the WNBA season, with just all my rehab and getting back to where I wanted to be and then getting even better. So that's been kind of my focus. And, this has kind of been my next thing that I've been working for since our season ended, and just really thankful for the training staff and player development and everybody that has kind of been there with me. They haven't taken a break either because they invest a lot of time and they want me to be successful. So I think for myself, like it's not proving it to yourself again, but it's just that feeling. And I think it just made me smile quite a bit. Like I really did kind of feel like myself out there and just continuing to get my lungs back. But I felt like I was moving really well. So it was pretty satisfying.
Then practice started and Team USA got the version of Caitlin Clark that plays fast on purpose. Not rushed, fast. Coach Kara Lawson described it with one simple line. She said Clark looked good on both ends.
She's great,
Yeah.
Got a great personality, works hard in the practices, wants to be good, coachable, just all the things you would expect from a good young player.
But that sentence does not capture what happened. Everyone was watching her first steps. They wanted to see if the burst was there. They wanted to see if the rust showed. And instead, she looked like she never left. One clip says everything. Clark comes off a dribble handoff from Aaliyah Boston and turns the corner like someone hit fast forward. She is downhill before the defense can even load up. Help comes, and she fires a perfect pass right to Jackie Young. That is what makes her dangerous. It is not just the logo threes, it is the tempo, the intent, the way she forces you to play her game at her pace, whether you want to or not. And Sue Bird was right there watching it. Bird is the managing director in this camp. Therefore, when she is visibly excited, that is information.
She's a hard worker because of what she's been able to accomplish, but until you see that there's no wasted movements, no wasted reps, no wasted anything, you just have such a level of respect for how she goes about her work every day. And understanding the spotlight that she's on, understanding the weight that she carries because of who she is. And I've said this before, like she's literally like Taylor Swift 2.0.
Reports out of camp said Bird could not hide it, while Clark pushed tempo, hit knockdown threes, and built chemistry with Boston that looked like a starting unit. That chemistry is the sneaky part. You could see it in the little stuff, the timing on cuts, the way Boston screens and slips because she trusts the pass will arrive on time. The way Clark rewards movement, other players start sprinting lanes because they know she will find them. Then, the practice footage hit the internet, and it got louder. There is a clip where Clark throws a behind-the-back pass, sees Nate Tibbetts coming to set a screen, splits it clean, and gets all the way to the rim. No hesitation. Then, the sequence that made everyone replay it. Kelsey Plum comes off the screen, kicks it out, and Clark drills the three. Next possession, Clark is up the floor, another three. Then she comes off another screen, and it is another three. 3 quick decisions. 3 shots that say, I am not here to ease into anything. And it is not just scoring. This camp is built on roles, on trust, on who can run the team when the game gets tight. In the clips, you see Clark defending, moving well, and making the right pass before the defense even realizes it rotated. That is why the reaction was so intense. Because it was not loud, it was calm, it looked like command, And when one player looks like that, it changes what everyone else is fighting for. Which brings us to Angel Reese. Reese has real value. She rebounds, she brings physicality, she competes, she can help any team if she is used correctly. But this camp is a pressure cooker because the vibe is tempo and spacing. Quick decisions, guard play that bends the floor, bigs that screen, sprint, and finish. Therefore, when Clark is running the show, everything gets measured against whether it fits that style. The chatter from camp has been blunt. Reports said Clark outclassed the other newcomers, including Reese. They said the staff looked more impressed with Clark's team first impact than with individual flashes. That does not mean Reese is bad. It means the margin is smaller than people want to admit. There are only so many spots. There are only so many touches. And if you are a newcomer, you do not get the benefit of time. You get moments. One quote from the camp coverage hit hard. It said Reese emphasized players were selected based on their ability to contribute to the team. That is true. But in the same breath, the conversation turned into fit. Can Reese's game thrive when the ball is flying and the pace is extreme? Can she stay on the floor if the lineup needs spacing? Can she dominate in a role that is not built around her? That is the tension. Because Caitlin Clark does not just score. She speeds up the whole roster. If you are late, you get left. If you do not cut hard, you do not get rewarded. But here is the twist most people are missing. This camp is not only about players, it is also about coaches. Sue Bird clarified that the court coaches are provisional, and that final assistant roles get confirmed closer to the World Cup. In other words, people on the bench are auditioning too. So the real question is not only is Caitlin back, it is who is building the system? Are they optimizing Clark's pace and vision, or trying to fit her into a preset plan? After what we just saw, the answer feels obvious. If Caitlin Clark is healthy, you let her run it. You let her push tempo. You let her make everyone better. So now, Team USA has a choice. They can embrace what is obvious and build around Clark's game. Or they can try to manage it and squeeze her into a box that never fit her in the first place. And the next scrimmage is going to expose which path they are taking. Watch the rotations. Watch who closes. Watch who gets the ball when the possession actually matters. Because if Caitlin Clark keeps playing like this, it is not just Angel Reese who will feel shocked. It is the entire hierarchy. If you are still watching, comment Team USA Tempo.
Look like day 2 of USA team basketball has begun. Caitlin Clark is still in the midst, and women's basketball is definitely back.
In yesterday's episode, we talked about Team USA camp that's currently happening at Duke University, and the biggest news from this camp is that Caitlin Clark is 100% healthy. She's back on the court. She's playing 5v5.
Team USA Day 2 practice footage just dropped, and Caitlin Clark looks different. Not in a clickbait way. Different in the details. The pace is calmer. The footwork is cleaner. The shots come out with more control. But the strange part is not what we see in Durham. It is what we do not see online. Because the engagement around this camp has been quiet. And that should worry the WNBA more than any missed jumper. Day 2 gives us better angles and more reps. You can feel the speed. You can see how serious the tone is. Every cut matters. Every pass is sharp. And right away, Paige Bucher's pops. Paige is living in the mid-range. 1 or 2 dribbles, rise up, splash. People are watching these clips and saying she looks like a young Diana Taurasi. That is a wild compliment, but you can see why they say it.
In the WNBA, we got Paige Buecher's fans being just so petty and bogus over one little shot she made over Caitlin Clark. And the thing is, you guys are making this a war when we love Paige. We think Paige is a great player. But y'all starting a war that don't need to be started. Put the pettiness down.
But here's the turn. The highlights are good, but the numbers around the highlights are not. This roster announcement and these practice clips should have been a social media party.
So today we got it. We got to see the quote unquote young and turnt team play together in training camp. We got to see the lineup of Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Sonia Citron, and Angel Reese. And it is one of those things where if you guys are watching, so I'll talk a little more about the game. My guess is that like you added Kiki, you added Rakia Jackson to this team. Cam Brink was put on the older.
Caitlin is in the gym. Paige is in the gym. The story is right there. Therefore, the reaction should be loud. Instead, it feels muted. And it's not just a feeling. Even the way people talk about it sounds different. Day 1 was described as decent, but it was also followed by, I expected more fanfare. That tells you everything. When you finally have a mainstream moment, decent is not good enough. You want loud. You want casual fans arguing. You want clip accounts spamming highlights. You want the comments section fighting about who should start. But right now, it feels like the camp is being watched mostly by the same core fans who already care. And this offseason is a test. It answers one brutal question. Do people show up for women's basketball, or do they only show up for Caitlin Clark? A lot of fans keep pointing to the same pattern. Caitlin Clark games can sit around the 1 million viewer mark, but games without her can slide closer to the league's old baseline, around 400,000. That gap is massive. It does not mean the league is failing, but it does mean the league is still star dependent. Now let's go back to the footage, because Caitlin really does look different. When people say that, I think they mean she looks settled. Watch her off the ball. She is not sprinting like she has to prove she belongs. She is sliding into space and reading the floor early. And when she shoots, the base looks stronger. Feet set. Balance. Straight up. Release. That call matters because she recently said the rehab took longer than she expected, but she is feeling back at 100% now. That is not just health. That is confidence. And a confident Caitlin plays smarter, not just faster. So why is the internet acting like this is just another random practice? There are 3 explanations. 1, it's the off-season. Casual fans moved on. 2, it's practice. People want games, not drills. But 3, and this is the uncomfortable one, a chunk of the audience might have been here for Caitlin, not for the sport. If that is true, the league's next move is obvious. There's also a weird irony here. This Team USA group is deeper than ever. It is not a one-player show. That should be a good thing, but it can also spread attention thin. A casual fan shows up, sees 10 stars, and thinks, who am I supposed to latch onto? Therefore, the league has to make the story simple. Give people a rivalry, a role, a reason. Caitlin the engine, Paige the closer, veterans protecting the crown, young stars trying to steal it. It has to build more stars, more storylines, and more reasons to care when Caitlin is not the only headline. Paige has to become must-watch. Team USA has to feel like an event, not a nice clip. And that brings us to the bigger pressure point, the CBA. The collective bargaining agreement talks are hanging over everything. Players want better travel, better pay, and fair revenue sharing. Owners point to financial reality and say the business still needs time to grow. And the media rights money is the tension in the middle. The number being discussed is about $2.2 billion over 11 years, which is roughly $200 million per year. Players look at that and say, we deserve more now. Owners look at that and say, we still have to turn that into real profit. Both sides have a point, but the one outcome nobody can afford is a work stoppage that kills momentum. Caitlin basically said that out loud. She called this the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and she warned it cannot be messed up. She also said, fight for what you deserve, but you have to play basketball, because the product is what fans show up for. That is the truth of the attention economy. Fans do not fall in love with negotiations. They fall in love with games, moments, and pressure. So here is the real cliffhanger of this entire camp. Team USA is probably going to dominate. But the bigger question is whether international games can recapture the attention the WNBA season generated. Because if these games pull the casual audience back in, the league is growing. But if the engagement stays low, even when the stakes are real, the league has a different problem. It is not a basketball problem. It is a retention problem. And day 2 is already hinting at it. Caitlin looks calmer. Paige looks lethal. The roster looks stacked. Therefore, the basketball is not the issue. The issue is whether the world keeps caring when it is not being screamed at to care. So watch the first real Team USA game clips. Not practice, the games. Watch the reaction, the shares, and the comments. Because if the engagement explodes when it becomes real, this was just an off-season dip. But if it stays quiet, the WNBA is still running on one engine, and it has to build the rest fast. Comment if you think Caitlin's different look is growth or something else, and if you're still watching, drop day 2 different in the comments.